You have the move, Greg.
We're going to kick it off, and I'm going to give you a more proper intro. Hey, Craig Gordon here. We are tuning in from the DPS mothership down here in the Behave State, the city of salt, talking to halfway across the planet in Bariloche, Patagonia. And we're talking to our main man with the snow plan, and that's Santiago Guzman. And I'll tell you, it's a great honor to have him on the other side of the line here. And, Santi, as I'm reading through your background, and I've been a big fan of yours for a really long time because you're a ski coach and you are one hell of a skier. But also, what really impresses me about you, man, is that you give back so much to your community and especially the freeride crew, and especially stretching that knowledge out to another generation of young rippers. So, man, it's a real pleasure and a big honor to have you as part of the Always Winter Somewhere series. So, how are things in your world, my man?
Hello, Craig. How are you? The pleasure is mine. I've been following you and the avalanche conditions for many, many years, 2 decades almost in Utah, and you've been like pumping us up to go and ski the Wasatch for so long. So it's an honor to speak with you. And here we are in Bariloche, conditions all time. It was a little bit slow at the beginning, but now we're all in and we have a beautiful mountain here in Bariloche. And regarding the culture and the community and the free riding, yes, for sure, it's been a pleasure and an honor and something that I almost haven't chosen. It just happened to teach what I had learned from others and keep the wheel moving, right? So here we are skiing, getting older and enjoying it and having fun.
But we share this kindred mountain spirit, and we know that we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. When you started in this game, you were a little dude out on the mountains, and tell us how you wove those really early years into this progressive career that you've established for yourself.
To be honest, I come from the alpine skiing, from doing gates and like racing, but I had some, I don't want to say nihilists, but some really hardcore punk coaches that taught us everything else other than ski racing. They planted that seed in us, in our generation, and that at some point it was a blooming of free riding and free skiing and freestyling and watching movies and like everything. One thing take to the other, and here we are.
Yeah, here you are. And hey, tell me, you said in the beginning of the combo that season started off a little bit slow, and we've seen that in a lot of zones in South America. But tell me where you're at right now and how the season evolved into that.
I'm in the northern Patagonia in Bariloche. It's a beautiful region. It's like I compare it many times with Pacific Northwest because it's closer to the sea. It's more a sea-driven weather, and we have mostly winds and storms from the west. So when we get it big. We get it deep, and it's more of a wetter snow, but it's fun. It's a fun mountain. Everybody was hoping the Nina or the big Nino will bring everything. Many times we struggle with temperatures. So we have a lot of rain and stuff. If we don't have the right temperature, it's just water. So at the beginning it was dry and nothing happened. And then it came like 2 or 3 big cycles of storm by rain. And when we were about to get desperate, we got it. And yeah, we got a few meters and that changed everything. And then it swiped to an east weather storm, which is colder, that comes from the Atlantic, and that like kind of settled everything down. It's also what sometimes brings the uncohesive structures in the snow, because otherwise we have a really predictable snowpack here in Bariloche.
Okay, got it. So outside looking in, my rudimentary approach to your snowpack, it's definitely more maritime-esque, and it sounds like that's how you started off, like a nice big fire hose that laid down a super solid base. And now as you're starting to turn into that easterly flow, drier, right? Better POW, but also you're describing you might see the propensity for some weak layers to develop in that snowpack. Is that correct? Is that something you're tracking right now?
Yeah, correctly. Our temperature amplitude is pretty big. Our snow tend to settle in, and that gets dissipated. But it's super weird, the eastern storms. and now it's changing back to the west, that it's bringing way more snow. So the thing is, when we have a big wet west snow and then like a little short eastern temperatures, and then it comes back. So that makes that weak layer in between. You know what I mean? That sandwich.
Okay, got it. So it sounds like you're going to have to be on your game moving forward the next couple of storm cycles that start stacking up. And help me understand, so coming from the States, what are some of the things that I could expect visiting your zone? And of course, if we were to visit with you, we would get nothing but expertise in the guiding and the avalanche forecasting realm. But walk me through getting from the city of salt to visiting you. What does that look like as far as travel is concerned?
Well, I think nowadays it's getting shorter and shorter, the trip itself. So you have like a domestic flight in the States, an international flight, and then another domestic flight here, a 2-hour flight. But you land right on the spot, right in Bariloche, and I think the rest is all fun.
All right.
So you have a 15 to 18-hour flights that you, of course, have to like suffer a little bit, but then it's pretty straightforward. Not much luggage carrying and all that. That sometimes getting to these different spots, either in South America or in other continents, sometimes it's kind of a struggle. I think here nowadays it's getting pretty simple. So you're more than welcome to come. And then the mountain is super fun. You have alpine, and then if the weather is not good, you have so good forest skiing and tree skiing, like Japan style. I'm going to show you some videos, so maybe I convince you to come, Gordon.
Absolutely, man. With that open invite, I'm also going to hit you up then. I know that culturally, very rich zone. Talk to me a little bit more about the Patagonia culture, because it's my sense that it's super inviting and y'all want to share some of that.
I think we have the small town vibe, right? Even though we here in Bariloche next to the mountains, it's almost 200,000 people. But all Patagonian cities are quite small, and the vibe, it's, you know, that little old town people like trying to have fun. It's getting bigger and bigger, but that also makes a bigger community. And we have in comparison to other ski resorts that are more isolated, here there is a ski town. This is my hometown. There's a vibe. There's an après. There's stores. There are restaurants. So there's dancing and.
I love that. And then as far as skis to pack, tell me what you've got in your quiver, and then I'll follow that up. If you just had one ski, what would be your sticks of choice there?
Well, as I told you, it started kind of dry, and then it kept shallow for a bit. So I started skiing. I'm mostly a white skier, except like today that we were talking and I was skiing. That's why we delayed the meeting. I was skiing on the groomers because it was like sunny day and it was perfect for groomers. But I was skiing at the beginning of the season with 111, and it was not enough, Greg. It was not enough. So I had to change to my 118 koalas or my 124 lattices to go ski and get the powder, because as it's deep and dense, you need something to float and to go fast on the snow, you know, like not through, but just for flying. And I think, as always, if you have to have one quiver killer, the 105, it's always a good bet.
Okay.
The Kaizen 05 makes it all happen. In my opinion, if you can and you bring in a ski bag, pack 2 skis, pack a 105 or 100, and then bring your POW skis, because if you get one POW ski or 2 or 3, it's gonna be worth it.
You're gonna nail it somewhere along the line. And you know, in full disclosure here, yeah, Santi and I were back and forth with an email thread and chain earlier today. And man, when you sent me the sunny, beautiful picture and full-on cruisers and groomers, it's like, yeah, man, of course we're gonna bump this back. And we so appreciate you taking the time off the mountain, because it does look like a spectacular day. And I know those groomer cruisers are a blast, you know, and it sounds to me like you're going to start to get into a storm cycle coming up. Would you mind maybe here in the course of the next couple of weeks, if we could check back in with you, we could catch up and see how things are developing.
Of course, it will be my pleasure to give you guys some data from down here and tell you how, just in case, start looking for tickets, for flights, for lodging, and maybe you nailed it.
All right, perfect. I love that. Thanks for giving us the inside line there. And hey, man, what's the rest of the week and what's the weekend shaping up for you to look like?
I think it's gonna start to hopefully to snow, and hopefully with kind of a high temperature, and then it's gonna go down, so which make would make the snow stable, and we have a few feet in the forecast. So let's just hope it stay as it is.
Okay, I love it. We're going to share more of your information. And as always, Santi, such an honor, such a pleasure to talk to you. We'll look forward to catching up in a couple of weeks. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, my man. Peace be with you. And remember, you can tune in at any time. DPS for design, performance, and of course, we'll throw in some soul.
Ciao.